Welcome back. I'm your Santa Barbara web guy, and today we're going to talk about trust. Today we're talking about why, if people can't trust you, they won't buy from you. And it's because they need to be able to believe in the end result. They have to believe the stories that you tell them. And if your stories are based in something they can't trust, then you're not going to have agreements. The agreements are necessary for them to take action. And I'm thinking of a book called The Thin Book of Trust by Charles Feltman. Now, The Thin Book of Trust tells us that there are over 35 different definitions of the word trust. And so based on the culture or our childhood or past experiences that we've had, we all come to establish a way of judging whether we can trust people or not based on some of these 35 definitions. Now, we don't all use the same definitions to evaluate whether we can trust someone. And it's interesting because some people, they go through life with certain behaviors and they consider themselves to be very trustworthy people, but sometimes they'll encounter someone who sees one of these behaviors and thinks that this is not a trustworthy person. For example, if you are habitually late, technically I might call that unreliable, but it doesn't mean that I don't trust what somebody says. Who will extend it further, they won't trust what the person says if they're not on time, because they believe that that's a trustworthy action, showing up when they say they will. And so if they don't show up when they say they will, they're not looking deeper into the possible reasons why that person didn't show up. They're making a quicker judgment about whether or not they can trust the commitments that person makes. These are all different for different people. And I suggest that you take a look at your website, the claims that you're making on your website. When you meet people, sometimes when people meet someone, they want to establish some form of relatability or familiarity. And so they, in a sense, will try to connect to something that person likes. But if someone is really passionate about that connection that you're making, it can become really obvious that you're faking it, or that you're exaggerating, or that you don't have as strong of a connection as you're implying that you do. So it's important to be really mindful of the examples that you give and the stories that you tell, the relationships that you're trying to establish, and if you're trying to be relatable or familiar with someone. And so my advice is possibly take a look at this book, The Thin Book of Trust by Charles Feltman. Take a look at your own process, your own sales techniques, the stories that you tell, the verbiage that you're using, everything about your process, what trust you're asking people to place in you when they're taking action or hiring you. And establishing some kind of mindfulness in these areas could improve your overall sales, your outcomes, and your conversions. I hope this helps. Please leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Take care.